Welcome in. It's the PHNX Cardinals halftime show. I'm Johnny Venerable. He is Bo Brock, the playmaker. Britton Golden, the Arizona Cardinals down 21-7 in what I can only describe as a non-competitive, embarrassing first half for the Cardinals that we have not seen, dare I say, Bo, since the Cleveland Brown outing. I mean, that was outright embarrassing for Jonathan Gannon's Cardinals.
It was in all three phases for the most part. What you saw was Chicago Bears offense that has no business rattling off 3 touchdown drives in a row, 3 fairly easy touchdown drives for Justin Fields and crew. It looked like he was out there playing against Maryland when he's a member of the Ohio State Buckeyes. And then you got the offense going stagnant, right? I mean, they basically, outside of a 9-play, 75-yard drive, Britton, this offense was completely invisible this first half. And, it's pretty crazy to think that they could go out there, get the ball to start and cut into this lead to make it a 1-possession game. But that still seems far-fetched at this point with the inconsistencies we've seen from both sides of the football.
Oh, agreed. I mean, if you look at the drive that actually worked, right? They moved the ball down the field. James Conner was very active in that. It's the other drives you've seen it, and it's obviously been the key thing all year long. When James Conner doesn't get touches in the game, they struggle on offense. I don't care who you have at quarterback. I mean, you could put Aaron Rodgers, you could put anybody back there right now at this point. If you don't have a run game, you don't have the makeup on the outside to sit back there and throw the ball in the pocket all day long. You just don't have it. You don't have premier receivers out there. You don't have enough help out there outside of Trey McBride. So James Conner's got to get back into this game. He's got to be in this drive coming out of half. He's got to touch the ball more than twice. They've got to hand it off and then allow Kyler to throw the ball after that. But James Conner has to be the active point in this.
I mean, you guys hit the nail on the head. I mean, nobody played particularly well outside of James Conner in that first half. He's averaging 6.3 yards per carry as the Cardinals' lone touchdown, albeit through the air. Kyler Murray, pretty pedestrian, 10 of 17, 85 yards, 91 quarterback rating. I mean, the offense has been bad. I think the defense has been worse. But starting that game, Bo, as you mentioned it, making Justin Fields in this dismal Bears offense look that efficient, guys running wide open, uncharacteristically rough half for guys like Jalen Thompson and Budda Baker. I mean, the Cardinals don't have a pass rush. We know that. Let's see, I'm at least hopeful that Gannon and company can make halftime adjustments. This is a big second half for Kyler Murray, Bo, because, Justin Fields, you've got everybody in Chicago now saying stick with Justin Fields. He's got 2 touchdowns in the first half. He looks great. And I see people on Twitter saying, yeah, Kyler Murray's the one who should be under the gun now. Kyler Murray, get him out of Arizona. Trade his ass out of town. Take a quarterback, Arizona. These are 2 really big quarters for K1. I don't know if he necessarily has to win this game now, but what you've been kind of screaming for, like big plays, touchdowns, but like to Britton's point, I don't even know if that's possible with this personnel. It has been abysmal. And, Michael Wilson, no catches in the first half. Greg Dortch, Rondell Moore trying to help out. It's a tough go for the Cardinal passing game.
Yeah, would it take 5 minutes left in the first half for the only wide receiver to get his hands on a ball for a reception? I mean, that's just way too long. There was a play in the first quarter where it would have moved the chains. It hit Rondell Moore. It's like Rondell Moore is showing, the difference between, a consistent big play wide receiver and those who aren't that. And unfortunately, Rondell Moore has left a few plays on the field as well as he played down the stretch of that first half. I think it's you're seeing that the need is there. It's very real this offseason, what they need to do at that position. But man, it's really, it was a sludge offensively. They absolutely do. To your point, Johnny, everybody needs to show something, and they came out lifeless. And if they can come out in the second half and start to string together scoring drives, absolutely, I think that might be able to inspire some people. But at the same time, I mean, there's nobody that can come away at this point, go into the locker room and say, I played well. I played well in that first half. And it was nauseating to see Cole Kmet put up 100 yards receiving. But also, Britton, we're starting to see what a world looks like where they're putting Jalen Johnson on Trey McBride. Like Trey McBride, the days of him getting the feast on a safety and a linebacker, those are done, because what does the opposing defense have to lose at this point? Like outside of giving up chunk yardage to Trey McBride, now it's like, okay, Michael Wilson, Rondell Moore, those are your guys. okay, they're going to have to get those yards. We're not going to let 85 beat us.
Yeah, and that's the key to it, right? Trey has emerged as the number one target in this offense, receiving wise. So now I'm not putting somebody inferior to cover him. I will put the guys. I'll go one-on-one with anybody outside right now because nobody outside for the Cardinals has proven that they can win one-on-one matchups all season long. I may have caught some passes here, caught some passes there, but Trey McBride's the only one that's proven. You put me one-on-one, I'm going to make a play on the football. So now you put a better defender on Trey McBride. You double Trey McBride, and you just leave everybody else. Say you will beat us. We'll make the guys on the outside beat us because we haven't seen it all year. So at this point, somebody outside's got to make a play. They've got to do something in man coverage because these receivers are going to be manned up for the rest of the second half. Points are going to be crucial. I don't care if it's 3 or 7 this opening drive, but somebody on this receiving corps has got to make a statement, or else it's just going to be abysmal for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I think to both your points, I think the game plan has to be you have to come out and get points to start the second half. You can't go 3 and out. You can't punt the football back to Chicago. You had them on your heels a little bit at the end of that first half, and then the offense vomited all over itself with that egregious, and people are saying it's Kyler's fault, whomever it was, Petsine or Kyler, the backwards pass, just an abysmal play call on 3rd and 3, and just
Terrible.
no sense of urgency before the half. That has to change. I mean, Gannon and company, I put this on Twitter, and Gannon's default. I mean, this is his team, but this is the kind of game you're going to be able to put on if you're Monty Ossenford when you're looking at personnel on this team, evaluating players to bring back or not in like early February. And guys just do not feel like competing on a team that's got 3 wins, albeit on Christmas Eve. Do we feel sorry for ourselves making, 7-8 figures because we have to go to Christmas Eve and play a pro football game? Because that's what it feels like right now. It feels like the Chicago Bears have a lot more to play for, even though they suffered an emotional loss last week that knocked them out of the playoffs. Cardinals are like, we have to fly across country, and that's not fair. And we just want to kind of go through the motions. We've been competitive for most of the year. We're just going to take off the rest of the season. Like, I'm sorry, that's going to get a lot of people upset. A lot of people that are invested in this team upset, like this podcast. So I that first quarter literally looked like we have not gotten off the plane yet. We have not gotten off the jet yet from O'Hare or Midway, wherever they flew in, and we're just kind of getting our bearings about us. For Justin Fields to have that kind of time, and then for the offense to look this dismal, I think if you're Jonathan Gannon, you take Drew Petzing by the collar and say, number 6 has to have 20 touches this half. And if we fucking lose by 20, whatever. Because at the end of the day, DeMercado out of the backfield, these wide receivers, Kyler's not himself. You're not winning, Bo, any other way.
Right. No, I mean, and you're averaging close to 6 yards per carry. I mean, you can play that game, you can ground and pound, and you can see what that does and how it opens up things for Justin Fields and the Chicago Bears offense instead of trying to do it backwards. Where you're starting and you put yourself behind the sticks, right? You're 2nd and 10, 3rd and 10, and then you're 3 and out. So if they can just lean on 6, which they absolutely should do, and DeMercado and Michael Carter, I think that they would be in a lot better position, especially on the opening second half possession to start that way, BG.
No, agreed. And, we've talked about this all year with the hit or miss with Petzing and the play calling, but that's got to be better myself too. I mean, some of these play calls, especially the 3rd and 3 play call, like speed option, like we're not at Oklahoma anymore, big dog. This is the NFL. Speed option is, you can run that, but that's not a 3rd and 3 in your area of the field in a 2-minute scenario type drill. That's not a play call you got to call. Now, to be fair to Petzing, it's, he called the play, the player's got to execute it, and it didn't get executed right, but we've seen it all season long. We've had where we praise Petzing because he calls an amazing game. And then the very next game, it's like we saw this screen bullshit for the last 3 years. Like we've been seeing this nonsense as play calling. So it's, at some point, he's got to figure this out and try to string 2 consecutive play calling games together. At the same time, the offense still has to go out there and execute the plays, whether it's bad or not. So it's points, like we said, points outside of this half. Whether it's 3, whether it's 7, preferably 7, points is everything. Because I feel like if you don't score this opening drive out of the half, this game just gets away from you.
Yeah. To me, it's given fuel to a lot of people that are kind of anti Kyler Murray rhetoric. Like, why isn't he playing up to Justin Fields' capabilities? We can only talk about the personnel for so long. I do think like the Michael Wilson thing is really disheartening. because that is a player that we hope is blossoming. It might just be a scenario in which Kyler Murray is just going to have to spend this offseason with Michael Wilson. Like maybe this is just not going to be a thing for the rest of the year. And right now you're operating with Greg Dortch, whom I love, and Rondell Moore, who are 5'8", 5'9", 5'10", and that's it. I mean, Elijah Higgins and Trey McBride are your big-bodied receivers. They play tight end. We're going to be back immediately following the second half. We got a super chat here, Mr. Grimm, $5. Anyone want to bet how many mirrors Bo can fit into his screen? Bo, how many mirrors can you fit into your screen?
Got quite a bit over here at the in-laws house. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's we got a house of mirrors right now on the playing field. We don't know which way is right or left. So yeah, it's only fitting.
Like this video, subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. For BG Bo Brock, I'm Johnny Venerable. We'll see you after the half.
We all silly like the mayor.